All right, get ready for a literary adventure because today we're diving into Italo Calvino's If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler.
Oh, this one is a fascinating book.
It really is.
It's really a book about how we read, you know?
Yeah.
Like, imagine getting engrossed in a story and it suddenly cuts off.
Right.
And then you start a whole new book
Totally.
with different characters and a different genre, even.
It's like he's messing with us as readers,
Exactly.
making us really think about what we expect from a novel.
It's metafiction.
Totally.
A story about stories.
But it's also something we've all experienced,
Yeah.
like that frustration of getting into a book and then there's a missing page
Oh, I hate
or a
these.
printing error or something that just...
Yeah, or you get to like a really good part
Right,
and then
you-
you realize, oh, wait,
Exactly.
I've read this before.
Yes. And that's where Calvino starts.
With a reader,
Yes.
starting a book called If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler.
And he sets this scene of, cozying up,
Yeah.
getting ready to read,
You're settling in.
and then things take a turn.
Yes.
The first story we get is in this station cafe.
Uh-huh.
It's smoky, kind of gritty.
Very atmospheric.
Yes, and our main character, who's just called the Man,
Just the man.
is carrying a mysterious suitcase.
Oh, that suitcase.
I know.
It's so intriguing.
What's in it?
We don't know yet.
But it feels important.
It's like Chekhov's gun.
Oh, yeah.
If there's a suitcase in the first act.
It's got to be important.
Gotta be important.
But beyond that, Calvino uses these details to pull us right in.
Oh, the sensory details.
You could almost smell the station.
The grime, the smoke,
Yes.
the stale coffee.
And there's this feeling of being in limbo.
Yeah, like you're between places.
And the man, he's trying to fix something from the past,
He wants to swim against the stream of time.
which I don't know if that's even possible.
Right. Can we ever truly undo what's been done?
It makes you think.
Yeah.
I know I've had moments where I wish I could just rewind.
Oh, me too.
But is that even a good thing?
Who knows what consequences that would have?
Right, like you might make things worse.
Exactly.
So the man, he's supposed to swap suitcases with someone.
It's part of this plan to fix the past.
Okay, so there's a plan.
But we don't know all the details.
Right, and the suitcase, it's like, is it contraband?
Or maybe secret documents?
What if it's a bomb?
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know, but it adds to the mystery.
And then we see another suitcase,
What?
another one just like it.
No way.
A woman is selling it to someone else.
Okay, so now there are two mysterious suitcases.
And they're both heading to the station.
The plot thickens.
This is getting good.
I'm completely hooked, but then just as I'm getting into this whole thriller vibe,
Calvino switches it up,
he takes us to this quiet town.
where the man is watching these ordinary evenings.
Yeah, but he's watching from outside.
Like he doesn't belong.
It's like that feeling of being an outsider.
Even in familiar places.
I get that.
Sometimes I crave that simplicity.
Me too. Just quiet, ordinary evenings.
It's like a longing for something we can't quite grasp.
And then we meet some other characters.
The doctor and his wife.
Yeah, and there's this tension between them
Some unspoken history.
and that woman selling the suitcases.
Right. She's still a mystery.
And the police chief shows up with this cryptic warning
Calvino is so good at creating these intriguing characters.
with just a few details.
It's like we get these glimpses into their lives.
So the full picture is still hidden.
It makes you want to keep reading to find out more.
Totally. But then just when you think you're starting to figure things out,
We're off to a completely different world.
Kujua.
It's so vividly described.
You can almost smell the spices, feel the texture,
As like being transported.
and we're right there with the man, leaving everything behind.
There's a sense of anticipation, like something big is about to happen.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Me too. And I can't wait to see where Calvino takes us next. So Kujua, it's a whole new setting.
Right. It's like we've been transported.
And just when things were heating up with the suitcase,
Yeah, I was hooked.
we meet Ponko.
Ponko, who's that?
He comes in and basically starts taking over the man's life.
Taking over.
Yeah, like he's replacing him.
Oh, I see. So the man's identity is kind of being erased.
Exactly. And it makes you think about what makes us who we are.
Right. Is it our things, our relationships?
We're past.
What if all that's taken away?
And then there's Brig.
Briggs, who is she?
She's this woman who's connected to both the man and Ponko.
Oh, so a bit of a love triangle.
More than that, I think.
Okay, how so?
It's like she represents the past they're both trying to hold on to.
So the fight for her is about more than just romance.
It's about identity, about the fight against time.
And then there's Ouida.
Suida, yes.
She's from the past, right?
We only see her in a photo.
but she's clearly important.
She adds another layer to this whole complicated situation.
Okay, I need to know more.
But Calvino, he doesn't really give us the answers.
What do you mean?
He pulls us back out of the story.
Back to reality.
Back to your reality as the reader.
Oh, right. The reader searching for the Sumerian novel.
The one that keeps getting interrupted.
So it's like he's reminding us that we're part of this game, too.
We're not just observers, we're active participants.
And just like the man with the suitcase, we're on a quest.
Searching for the complete story.
And along the way, we meet some interesting characters.
Ludmilla, another reader who's hooked on the Sumerian novel.
And Anirio, who claims to know her secrets.
Right, and Professor Uzi Tutsi.
The one who can translate the Sumerian language.
He's quite a character.
I love how Calvino injects some humor into these encounters.
It's like he's poking fun at the world of academia.
And the way we try to make sense of literature.
Which, let's be honest, can be pretty convoluted.
But isn't that part of the fun?
Trying to piece together the fragments, searching for meaning.
Even when the information keeps slipping away?
Just like those interrupted chapters.
It makes you wonder if a complete version even exists.
Are we chasing a phantom?
Is there a truth hidden somewhere?
Or are we all just searching for something that might not be there?
It's a bit existential.
But that's Calvino, always pushing us to think deeper.
And just when you think you might be getting close to some answers.
He gives us a taste of the Sumerian novel itself.
Through the professor's translation.
It's just a snippet, but it's intriguing.
Tell me more.
It's set on a beach, a Nordic beach, I think.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And there's this delicate gentleman following footprints.
Ooh, mysterious.
But then the translation ends.
No.
Another cliffhanger.
Calvino is a master of suspense.
He keeps us wanting more.
And so we move on to the next interrupted novel.
Another one.
This one is completely different.
Okay, I'm ready.
Imagine crossing a bridge packed with people.
Okay, lots of people.
They're fleeing a city under siege.
Oh, wow, that's intense.
The atmosphere is electric.
I bet.
And that's where we meet Irina.
Irina, she sounds interesting.
She is very captivating.
And what's her role in this story?
She's part of the revolution.
Oh, so this is a political thriller now. It has those elements, yes.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Her room becomes a central point.
Like a hub for the revolutionaries.
Yes. Secrets are shared there, plans are made.
So the stakes are high.
Very high.
And our protagonist, is he part of this revolution?
He is, but he's also on a secret mission.
A secret mission, what kind?
To uncover a spy within the group.
Wow, talk about a double life.
He's walking a tightrope.
Trying to balance his loyalties.
With the truth.
And maybe with his feelings for Irina.
It's definitely complicated.
So we have revolution, espionage, and a possible love story.
Calvino knows how to keep us guessing.
And just when things are getting really good.
The story cuts off again.
Of course. Leaving us with more questions than answers.
Then we're back in your world, the readers.
Still on the hunt for the Sumerian novel.
And this time, you meet Mr. Cavadagna.
Who is he?
He works for the publishing house.
The one that published the incomplete novel.
The very one.
Okay, so he might have some answers.
Maybe, but he seems more disillusioned than helpful.
How so?
He's surrounded by manuscripts, drowning in words.
Almost like he's lost the joy of reading.
But he does give you a clue.
A clue about what?
About Hermes Morana.
Ah, Marana the translator.
He seems to be at the center of this whole mystery.
So he's more than just a translator.
Much more.
And what is his motive?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Is he a villain?
Or victim.
Or maybe a bit of both?
Calvino keeps us guessing.
And then we learn about the OEPHLW.
The Organization for the Electronic Production of Homogenized Literary Works.
Quite a mouthful.
And quite a concept.
What do they do?
They want to standardize literature and make it all the same.
Oh, that sounds a bit dystopian.
It's Calvino's commentary on mass culture.
And the threat to individuality.
What does it mean for art to be authentic in a world of copies?
That's a really interesting question.
And then we follow Marana to Arabia.
Arabia, what's he doing there?
He gets involved with a sultan and a sultana.
And a revolution?
Not exactly, but there's definitely intrigue.
Okay, tell me more.
The sultana, she's confined to her palace.
Sounds a bit lonely.
But she has a secret.
What is it?
She reads smuggled novels.
Well, so she's a rebel at heart.
In a way, yes.
And Marana is involved somehow.
He's the one providing the books.
But is he helping her or using her?
We don't know for sure.
Classic Marana keeping us in the dark.
But this image of the sultana reading by candlelight,
so powerful.
it speaks to the power of literature to transcend boundaries.
It sparked rebellion.
To connect us to worlds beyond our own.
And then another interrupted novel.
This time, it's about Silas Flannery.
A writer.
A famous writer.
Okay, what's his story?
He has writer's block,
Oh, I've been there.
and he becomes fixated on a woman reading on a terrace.
A bit creepy, but I get it.
He wants to write the story of her reading experience.
Can you even do that?
It raises questions about the nature of creation.
The boundaries between reality and fiction.
And guess who shows up?
Marana.
Of course.
He's like a bad penny.
This time, he claims Flannery plagiarized another writer.
So Marana is a champion of the underdog.
Or is he manipulating the situation for his own gain?
I'm starting to think we'll never know his true motives.
But then we're introduced to the Apocryphal Power,
The what?
a secretive organization obsessed with finding hidden truths in literature.
So they believe books hold the key to some ultimate knowledge.
That's the idea.
It sounds a bit like a cult.
It has those elements, yes.
And what do they want with Flannery?
They believe his manuscript holds the answer.
But what is the question?
That's part of the mystery.
Calvino is a master at keeping us in suspense.
And just when we're getting deep into this philosophical debate,
Another shift.
this time it's the world of telephones.
Telephones.
The story is all about this guy obsessed with his phone.
Oh, so it's a modern anxiety tale.
Very much so.
We can all relate to that feeling of being constantly connected.
And the fear of missing out.
The FOMO is real.
But for this guy, it's more than just FOMO.
What do you mean?
He becomes convinced a student is in danger.
Oh, so there's a mystery element too.
Yes, and the search for her takes us through this empty city.
It sounds a bit eerie.
Very unsettling.
Is she actually in danger?
Or is it all in his head? Calvino keeps us guessing until the very end.
And speaking of endings, this section ends abruptly too, right?
Yes, and then we get a glimpse into the other reader's world.
Ludmilla.
We see her apartment.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like we're peeking into her life.
Trying to decipher clues about who she is.
Based on her belongings, her books,
It's a bit voyeuristic.
but also fascinating.
And it makes me wonder about my own bookshelves.
What would someone learn about you from your books?
That's a good question. One I'll have to ponder later.
And then we move on to a section all about mirrors and kaleidoscopes.
Mirrors and kaleidoscopes. What's that about?
It's about the narrator's desire to escape his own identity,
To become someone else?
to embrace multiplicity.
Okay, I'm not sure I follow.
The catoptric room, it's full of mirrors.
So he's seeing multiple reflections of himself.
Exactly, and he gets lost in them.
It's like a visual representation of a fragmented self.
And it becomes a bit disturbing.
How so?
He can't distinguish his own reflection from the women he desires,
Oh, I see. So the mirrors are reflecting his desires.
distorting his perception of reality
It's a bit like a metaphor for how our desires can blind us.
and lead us down dangerous paths.
And then we're back with Silas Flannery.
Still struggling to write.
Still obsessed with the woman on the terrace.
Yes, and now he's trying to capture the essence of her reading experience.
To write about the unwritten world.
It's a challenge, to say the least.
And it makes me think about the limitations of language.
Can words ever truly capture reality?
Especially someone else's reality.
And then Flannery meets Lataria.
Who's Lotharia?
She's a student who's analyzing his work,
Oh, that's interesting.
but she's using a unique method.
What is it?
She's looking at word frequencies.
Word frequencies. How does that tell you anything?
She's trying to find hidden patterns and themes.
Oh, I see. Like there's a deeper meaning hidden in the words themselves.
It's a different way of reading.
And what does she discover about Flannery's work?
I think that's for you to discover.
Okay, you're killing me with the suspense.
But the key takeaway is that there are always multiple layers to a text.
Multiple ways of interpreting it.
And that brings us to Flannery's encounter with Ludmilla.
Lotaria's sister.
Yes, and she claims to have a deeper understanding of his work.
Then Lotaria.
And even Flannery himself.
Wow, that's bold.
And it sparks a strange jealousy in Flannery.
Jealousy. Why would he be jealous?
He feels threatened by her interpretations.
Because she's seeing things he didn't intend.
Exactly. It highlights the complex relationship between author and reader.
The power readers have to create their own meanings.
And sometimes those meanings can challenge the author's intentions.
That's pretty profound.
And then we're transported to another world.
Another interrupted novel.
This one is all about delicate sensations.
Oh, kind of sensation.
Falling ginkgo leaves, floating water lilies.
Sounds peaceful.
It is very tranquil.
It's like a moment of calm after all the chaos.
And the protagonist is trying to savor these individual sensations.
Like he's practicing mindfulness.
Exactly, trying to be fully present in the moment.
But even in this idyllic setting, there's an undercurrent of tension.
Right. The protagonist becomes entangled with Madame Miyagi and her daughter.
Oh, so there's a forbidden love element.
It's more about the nature of desire.
How so?
Desire can be both beautiful and destructive.
It can connect us, but also lead us astray.
And when the protagonist tries to seduce the daughter,
Things go wrong.
it triggers a violent reaction, a flood of repressed memories.
So the past is never really past,
It always has a way of resurfacing.
even in the most peaceful of settings.
And that brings us to yet another interrupted novel.
Wow, how many is that now?
I've lost count.
Me too, but I'm still hooked.
This one is about a search for identity.
Okay, tell me more.
The protagonist is journeying through a desolate landscape.
Searching for what?
His origins, his roots.
Like he's trying to piece together his past?
Exactly. And he encounters a mysterious rider on a black horse.
Sounds ominous.
And then he arrives at a remote village called Oakwoodall.
Oakwoodall. What's it like?
It's a strange place full of secrets.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And there's a sense that the past is very much present in this village.
Like the protagonist is walking into a history he doesn't even know?
But he's about to discover it.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
But then Calvino throws us another curveball.
Another one. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
This time you, the reader, become part of the story.
Wait, what?
You're on a mission for a secret organization.
A secret organization. What do they do?
They deal in banned books.
Banned books. So this is about censorship.
And the power of the written word.
Okay, I'm in.
You meet the head of the organization, Arkadian Porfirich.
He sounds intimidating.
He is, and he has some chilling ideas about control
Control of what?
of information, of ideas.
So this is a fight for freedom of thought.
In a way, yes.
And what's my mission?
To help them acquire a certain book.
Is it the Sumerian novel?
It might be.
Oh, I knew that book was important.
But as you navigate this world of spies and secrets,
Things get complicated.
you find yourself caught in a web of deception,
Fake taxis, fake police.
double agents,
It sounds like a labyrinth.
and just when you think you're close to the truth,
You hit a dead end.
you encounter the other reader.
Ludmilla.
She's not who you thought she was.
What do you mean?
She's been assuming multiple identities.
Like a spy.
In a way, yes.
So she's been playing us this whole time.
It seems so.
But what's her motive?
That's the million-dollar question.
And I bet Calvino doesn't give us the answer.
He leaves us with more questions than answers.
But that's what makes this book so
It
brilliant.
forces us to think, to question, to embrace the ambiguity.
Just like life itself. It's like we're in a spy novel ourselves.
Right, with all the secrets and the double agents.
And that feeling of not knowing who to trust.
It's all connected to that Sumerian novel somehow.
I just can't shake the feeling that it's the key to everything.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
I guess that's part of Calvino's game.
To keep us guessing, to make us question
And then that ending.
that bleak, desolate ending.
The world without concrete nouns.
Just abstract language.
Felt so empty, so hopeless.
Like all meaning had been drained away.
And yet there was that last interrupted novel. Felt like a glimmer of hope in all that darkness.
A reminder that even in a world stripped bare, there's still beauty to be found.
If we just take the time to notice it.
To be present, to appreciate the little things.
It's a challenge, for sure.
Especially in a world that's constantly bombarding us with information.
But Calvino is urging us to slow down.
To savor the experience of reading.
To engage with the text.
To think critically.
And to embrace the ambiguity.
Because that's where the real meaning lies.
So after this whirlwind of a journey,
What have we learned?
what are the key takeaways from If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler?
Well, I think Calvino wants us to be more conscious readers.
To pay attention not just to the story,
But also to how it's told.
the techniques the author uses.
The way he manipulates our expectations.
He's also making a statement about the power of language.
And the importance of freedom of thought.
In a world where information is increasingly controlled,
It's more important than ever to think critically.
to question the narratives we're given.
And to seek out alternative perspectives.
And maybe, just maybe,
He's suggesting that our own reality,
is just another story
another false start.
in a larger unwritten narrative.
So the question is,
What role will we play?
what stories will we choose to tell?
And what meanings will we create?